And so it's our job to educate them on what's happening in the market, right? Are properties being underpriced and selling higher, or are they kind of priced right? And is there some ability to negotiate?
Yeah. We have, highly motivated sellers that want to sell before the winter. We should have highly motivated buyers that want to be in before the winter. And those things aren't transacted, not as, frequently as we thought they would moving into the fall.
Maybe it's going to take a bit of time for buyers, home buyers, to understand that we're starting to price the properties more where they should be as agents. And they're not necessarily going to have to go over.
Yeah. Welcome to the TNT Real Estate Podcast, where we spark conversations that set you up for real estate success. I'm Tyler.
And I'm Tanya. And each week we bring you expert tips on navigating Northern Ontario's real estate market. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, we've got the tools to help you thrive. Welcome back to the TNT podcast. We have switched positions. We're throwing it up. We're making it a little bit difficult, a little different for us.
I like
Getting
it.
out of our comfort zone, right? Because that's how we all grow.
I do feel uncomfortable over here.
Yeah. Good.
It's good.
Okay. Yep. You're in the hot seat. So today we are going to be tackling the fall advantage to home buying, especially here in the north. We're seeing a lot of changes in the market, and we're going to go through why fall can actually be an advantage.
Yeah.
What do you think, Tyler? When's the best time to buy a house?
I mean, it depends on the scenario, but I mean, this year, 2025, it seems like fall is the best time for sure. Usually we see a little bit more of a gradual drop off throughout the fall. Like we have a blip of, more sales, higher price point, September, October. And then by the end of October, early November, it starts slowing down gently. But I feel like 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, it was like people just stopped buying.
Yeah.
So obviously it wasn't that drastic, but it was we felt it in the market. It was just like we had a couple listings that went up and we're like, why is there no, where's the people? Like we're supposed to have people, especially in the last, few years when it's been so hot and so much activity the first week. It's been odd. It's been different.
We've seen a couple of our colleagues' properties and people that we know in the industry who it looks like the property's priced right.
Yeah.
Like kind of priced around where it should sell, maybe give or take a little bit here or there, but getting no showings. So where are all the buyers? I think some of the problems, quote unquote problem, I should say, we have a lot of inventory now, right? Because what we've seen is a slowdown in terms of the buyers hitting the market, buyers making offers. All the sellers who are still ready to sell in September and get ready for, a sale and close before the new year. There's just so many of those that kind of ramped up. So there's just too many, or maybe not too many, but there's certainly more product on the market.
More than there was for sure. And I think why we're saying that this is probably the best time is because we have, highly motivated sellers that want to sell before the winter. We should have highly motivated buyers that want to be in before the winter. And those things aren't transacted, not as frequently as we thought they would moving into the fall. Obviously there's still sales happening, but it's something that we were kind of scratching our heads at in the office for a little while. And
I think over the last couple of years, what we've sort of been saying is that like when rates start to drop, buyers will come back to the market. When rates start to drop, people feel more confident in the market. And we did have another rate drop, but I don't think that necessarily increased the activity that we had.
And I know it's no guarantee, but they're speculating. A lot of banks are speculating that there will be another one at the next announcement next month. So I mean, like just having that news out in the public, I would assume would generate a little bit more activity out there. But I mean, looking at the stats from last week or even the last couple of days, there's been just as many price decreases as there have been new listings hitting the market, which means people tried. And it's kind of one of those odd things, because a couple of weeks ago we had a whole bunch of listings hit the market. They were all undervalued and there was bidding wars and it sold for X amount. Now the next week, lots of people listed their homes, but at fair market value. And it's not like we're not holding offers. Just come and bring us money and we'll sell our house. Like it's nice and easy. But not. I don't know if it was just the expectation from the buyers that were like, okay, if it was, even though it is fair market value, it seems fine. Are we going to have to, go even higher than this? And maybe it's something that they couldn't afford. So, I mean, there's like a couple of little little pockets that could happen in.
Yeah.
But I mean, the slowdown isn't 700 and above, and it's not 4 to 6, and it's not 0 to 400. Like, it's kind of all over that we've had a little bit of a slowdown. So it's kind of, it's just kind of different this year.
Yeah. And so it is definitely slowing down in terms of the number of buyers that are out there. And I think maybe it's going to take a bit of time for consumers to understand that the competition level has changed. If they're anticipating, like you said, this bidding war, maybe it's priced lower. Do I have to go higher? Maybe it's going to take a bit of time for home buyers to understand that we're starting to price the properties more where they should be as agents. And they're not necessarily going to have to go over. Yeah.
And we've unfortunately trained them over the last 6 years that this is the way it's going to go, even though it wasn't like we weren't obviously training them, but it was a thing that happened because the market went so crazy for a long time. It's just, when you're buying a house right now, you have to, push the price. And it's weird because you walk into a store, you're not going to give, Walmart $50 extra for buying a toy or buying a tomato, whatever it is. But it's the way it is in the real estate market.
People started to get used to the fact that, okay, I'm going to have to pay $10, $15, X $1,000 more to buy this property. So I think it takes a bit of education on the agent's part as well, right? Our job is as consultants for our sellers and for our buyers. A lot of people work both sellers and buyers. Yeah. And so it's our job to educate them on what's happening in the market, right? Are properties being underpriced and selling higher, or are they kind of priced right? And is there some ability to negotiate? Yeah. So right now we're seeing, because of that shift, less competition, more motivated sellers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we've been kind of saying it for the last few weeks. It's just like the market in certain areas, especially like if you say like, New Sudbury, let's say, because I had a listing there, like under 500 was flying off the market. That, let's say 550 to 700 was kind of sitting. And we kind of speculated it's because, it's too high for a first time home buyer to get into. It's not big enough for, the first time home buyer from 5 years ago to move up to. So it's kind of that missing middle. Cause like there was a couple of sales at 800 and above in New Sudbury. There's a ton under 550. But in that little missing middle, like if you can, if the first time home buyer, or, if you can find a friend that can go up to, you guys can buy it together. There's steals. Yeah. There's steals out there between, 6 and 7, let's say.
Absolutely. There's huge opportunity. I'd say like in that price range we were talking about, we looked at it the other day at the office. We did sort of a rolling, stats on what is listed right now between that price range, say 550 to 650, even that's just $100,000 price range. And how many have sold in the last 3 weeks? And I think there was like a list of like 38, 40 properties, and only 3 or 4 or 5 had sold within that price range. So buyers, and as a home buyer, you have a lot of choice right now. You have a lot of opportunity. So if you're in that price range and you can squeak between 550 and 650, I think there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of choice.
So, I mean, obviously we're alluding to a little bit of a buyer hesitation out in the marketplace. So what are some key aspects that you feel that, like, when you're talking to your buyers that are kind of hesitating, what are they telling us?
I think there's kind of two things. There's people anticipating a bit of a price drop and people anticipating a further rate drop. Yeah. And I think we talked about sort of the economics behind it and our economy. Rates are probably going to stay pretty stable. They're probably not going to change that much. Maybe you'll get a little bit under 4% on a fixed. Will variable go down? I'm not sure if they'll ever start discounting that a ton. Yeah. And people are hearing in the news about other jurisdictions where they've seen huge price drops. Yeah. Right? So they're waiting for that to happen here. So I think that's kind of two misconceptions really in the market, waiting for the price to drop on what you're looking for and waiting for that rate to drop as well. And part of the danger in that is that if you're not looking, you might miss the right property. Yeah.
I mean, that's the other thing is I find a couple of people are waiting for the perfect property. And, I mean, it's one thing to wait until the house suits your needs. It's another thing to say, you know what, I'm not buying this house because I really needed, like, I can't convert this den into a bedroom, or, I have to paint the whole house or whatever. Like, go spend the $3,000. You're going to get $25,000 off the price, but spend $3,000
on a painter.
Yeah, on a painter or yourself.
Yeah.
Go buy the paint and do it yourself. But
yeah, take a couple weekends and do the painting job yourself. There's
so
some really good opportunities for sure.
There is. I mean, going back a little bit to the perfect property, it's just get something that fits your needs for right now, I would say, but you would get, a steal of a deal out there. There's some good deals.
Yeah. And one of the things that some of our agents will do as well is they'll sort their clients' property search criteria, sort by days on market.
Yeah.
So if your agent's doing that, they're able to look at what's been on the market for 2 weeks, 3 weeks or longer. And that's where you're going to find the motivated sellers. They may not sell for much less than the list price, or they may be willing to, but that's where your agent's job is to look at that house, that 3 or 4 bedroom home, how many bathrooms, the location, and determine what's the market value. And is there an opportunity for you to get a good deal on that?
And I mean, there's been multiple listings out there, like we were talking about at the beginning. There's just as many price decrease as there is new listings hitting the market. So I mean, if you find a house that you think is a little bit overpriced, don't be afraid to give them a lower offer. I wouldn't say a lowball offer, but a lowball offer can work too. But don't be afraid to put in an offer just because the last few years has been tough and you haven't been able to do that. The market's changing and we're seeing some huge decreases. Like I'm going to show one today actually, and they've come down over $100,000 in the last 2 weeks. Wow. So I mean, let's go see it. Let's jump on it. But I mean, if we would have went last week and we would have offered them $100,000 less, would they still be as interested as sellers? Maybe not, but as buyers, it definitely would make more sense, right? So
how do you think, Tyler, that home buyers, we're talking about home buyers in particular here, how can they take advantage of our market today, being that it's kind of in a shifting sort of transition? I mean,
like any market, number one is to get pre-approved, know how much money you can spend and do it the correct way. When they ask you for your T4s, T4As, pay stubs, get it all done. Just have a nice little box ready for them, hand it over, exactly how much you can spend. And then, at the same time, you could start talking to your mortgage brokers about purchase plus improvements. If you are, buying a house that needs a little bit of work, how you can find a little bit of extra funds to be able to do that and tie it back into your mortgage. And number two, I would say you have to work with somebody, a local and an expert, somebody that knows can have these chats with you over a coffee or whatever, that knows what's happening in the market and can see it. Maybe not see it before it's happening, but they can analyze what's happening in the market right now and go forward and give you some good advice, right?
I think it'd be good for us as agents to maybe break down a little bit of the stats too. And so we can see, we do it in our newsletters week to week, right? With all of our clients, we show them sort of the average price, days on market, so they can see those trends, those who are on our newsletters. And I think especially just the last 2 to 3 weeks, we've seen a big shift. And I think it's up to us as educators to educate our clients, prospective clients, and to educate the market that it is shifted a little bit and what's happening.
And I mean, if you're talking to agents that aren't really sure and they're still kind of giving you advice that you aren't sure about, I mean, you can always ask for a second opinion, or talk to everybody knows somebody that has bought a house this year. So ask friends and family what their experience was, and just take in all the information and then pull the trigger when you're ready.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Are you prepared to make a move if the right listing comes up this week? If not, let's fix that.
Well, that's it for today's episode. If you're in Greater Sudbury and looking to make a move, don't wait until spring. Fall is the perfect time to find the right home, to negotiate a great offer, and to get in before the winter sets in.
Thanks for tuning into the TNT Real Estate Podcast. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to subscribe, comment, and share with others looking to succeed in real estate.
We'll catch you next time with more tips and strategies for navigating Northern Ontario's #1 real estate market. Until then, stay ahead in real estate.